excited about this masterclass, and I can already feel that I am going to be getting on my soapbox. I am going to be preaching. I am going to be motivating. I am going to be saying lots of things. I have a lot of feelings towards job platforms like Upwork, okay? And I really want to discourage as many virtual assistants as I can from using these platforms. And I want to walk you through this masterclass's agenda a little bit beforehand. So first I want to start off by explaining to you, like, what are these platforms? I totally recognize that some of you have not even heard of Upwork or Indeed or Fiverr or something like that, but you will eventually stumble across them. I know you will. So I'm going to start off by explaining sort of what they even are. And then I'm going to dive into the trap part of them, why so many virtual assistants end up using these sites and what that can lead to. And then I'm going to be jumping into that fine print. Oh my gosh, anyone watching this, the fine print of these sites are deadly, okay? So I'm going to talk through the fine print, the traps, the catches you're going to get caught up in. I'm going to share horror stories from real virtual assistants that have had to try to navigate out of these sticky situations, okay? So I'm going to talk about all of that. I am also very open to sort of tapping into why someone might use these sites. I am very careful to never say never. I don't ever want to draw strict lines in the sand. The way that you're going to build your business is going to be the way that works for you. But I will sort of touch on maybe this is when you would ever use it, but I never want you to use it. And I try to rarely use that word, but for real, I never want you to use these sites, okay? Then I'm going to kind of talk about what can you do instead. Okay, so if I'm up here telling you you can't use Upwork, you should never use Upwork, and this is the reasons why, and you're going to be totally turned off of it, then I can't leave you hanging without some encouragement on but then where can you look, right? So I really want to inspire other places where you can look and find clients. And then I'm going to end this mastermind talking about how I can further support you in starting your VA business or any kind of online freelance business, okay? So that is today's agenda for the masterclass, and I'm really, really excited. So let's jump in. I am going to be using the word Upwork today, okay? Upwork, Upwork. However, I want to preface that when I say Upwork, I'm actually mean all of those types of platforms, okay? So there are other sites like Upwork called Fiverr, Indeed.com, freelancer.com. There are so many. So although I call this masterclass Upwork, it's a trap, I'm talking about all of these platforms, okay? The nitty gritty details, the fine print, I went into Upwork, read it, studied, talked to virtual assistants who've got caught up in the trap. So the sort of nuances and the badness of it, that is specific to Upwork. But seriously, I'm not saying don't use Upwork, but you can use Fiverr. I'm saying don't use any of these platforms, okay? That's what I mean. Let that word Upwork be interchangeable for any job platform, okay? So let's dive in. What is Upwork? What is Fiverr? What is Indeed.com? What is freelancer.com, okay? These are freelance job platforms. These are like the Craigslists of services and freelance jobs. So you're an independent contractor, which is the opposite of being an employee, right? Okay, maybe you're a virtual assistant or a graphic designer, or you are going to help someone develop their website or something like that. You're a freelancer. You work for yourself and you are hired as an independent contractor. These job platforms are for services like that, okay? These job platforms are a place where you would post your profile and say hey, I am a virtual assistant. I offer these services. I'm a graphic designer. I offer these services. You would post it to these sites. And then a potential client would come on and sift through and find someone that they would want to purchase that service from. It's also a platform where clients can post jobs that they need. Hey, I need a graphic designer. So on the flip side, freelancers can go to a site like Upwork, Indeed, freelancer.com, you name it, Fiverr, and they can apply to different job postings. That's what these platforms are, okay? They are hubs, they're freelance job platforms where you can find and offer freelance services. Sounds great, doesn't it? But it's not. That's why we're putting on this masterclass, okay? So here is the problem with sites like Upwork, like Fiverr, like Indeed.com, okay? When we want to start a freelance business, when we want to work from home, when we want to become a digital nomad, when we want to start an online business, we Google these words, okay? We Google freelance work. We Google remote work. We Google work from home. Okay, we Google online work. I Googled all of these right before the masterclass to confirm what I already know. The top search results when you Google these terms are Upwork, Indeed, Fiverr, freelancer.com. These are the top search results when you Google, how do I start to work online? How do I start a remote business? How do I find freelance work? Okay, these are the top search results on Google. So of course, anyone new to the online space, anyone new to independent contractor work, anyone new to freelancing is going to see those top results and think, this must be where I find clients. This must be where I offer my services. Duh, it's the top of the search. I get it. But here's the catch. These platforms pay to be at the top of the search. These platforms very strategically control the Google algorithm to show up at the top of the search. If you've ever heard of the term SEO, which stands for search engine optimization, if you've ever heard that term, that is you taking action to optimize your result on a search engine. Search engine optimization, SEO. Okay? These platforms pay and purposefully make moves and take action to show up at the top of the search. That is why you're seeing them at the top. You're not seeing them at the top because they're the most popular search result. You're not seeing them at the top because they are the most reliable place to find clients and start a freelance business. No, they are paying and taking action to show up at the top of the search. So just because something shows up as a top result on Google does not mean it is the place to start first. It does not mean it is the most reliable. It means they can be paying to be up there. Okay? So this is the problem, is that people who want to travel the world or quit their 9-to-5, or moms who want to have income while they stay at home with their kids, whatever, they sit down at their computer, they pull out their phone, they open up a web browser, and they start to search remote work, freelance work. How can I work from home? And the top Google results are these platforms. So naturally, that's where people new to the industry, curious freelancers starting out, are going to think they need to go. And the answer is no. So I get it, okay? This is why freelancers commonly fall into the trap. They don't realize that there are better places, more independent places to find clients, okay? They don't understand that the fine print of sites like Upwork or Fiverr or Indeed.com, even if you've read the fine print, you might not realize you don't need to tolerate the trap that they create, that there is another way. So that is a common reason why freelancers or new people or virtual assistants getting into the business start to use those sites. They fall into the trap, okay? So the next question is, why do clients use these sites? Okay, why are there potential clients on these sites looking for virtual assistants, looking for customer service reps, looking for graphic designers, looking for web developers? Why are they there? right? If there's all this trappiness and fine print on these sites, why are they there? Well, I'll tell you. First thing, clients are there looking for freelancers, because they don't know that there's other places to look. They don't know there's other places to find freelancers. Okay? Some of these clients also are cheap. They're cheap. And I mean that in the full embodiment of the word. These platforms are notorious for cheap services, like $5 an hour. Do you want to work with a client who heads to Upwork or Fiverr or Indeed.com because they want to pay someone $5 an hour? Is that the type of personality and embodiment you want from a client that you're going to be working closely with? No way. No way. Okay? That's like you trying to start dating and you hate partying, you hate drinking, and you decide you're going to go to a bar to try to find a potential partner. That doesn't make any sense. Maybe you're looking for your forever person and you are not an athletic person. Well, then why would you go to a community tennis event to try to fall in love? It doesn't make sense. If you are looking to work with high quality clients, then don't go to sites like Upwork or Indeed where there are low quality people hanging out there. Okay? So another reason why clients are going to go to a platform like Upwork or Indeed to look for freelance services, to look for virtual assistants, is there's this perceived lower risk because you're going through a third-party platform, and that is purely incorrect. You have no more security or protection if you are dealing with a freelancer through a site like Upwork than if you just found a freelancer independently outside of one of these platforms. There's no less or more risk working with these people. It's perceived because you're like, oh, Upwork's official and we do it through Upwork, so Upwork will protect me, or Upwork will cover my bases, or Upwork pre-approves these people. They don't. And in fact, you're going to have a way better relationship and a way stronger trusting relationship with a virtual assistant, with a client, if you just go and find them independently and have a conversation with them. Okay? And the fourth reason that clients will go to a site like Upwork or Freelance or Indeed.com to find virtual assistants, to find freelancers, is because they think it's easy. It's like going onto a site and just seeing a bunch of profiles for people who are willing to work with you, are willing to provide a service. And they're like, great, this was easy. Okay? No discovery call is needed. They don't need to chat with you. They don't need to meet with you. They don't need to invest a lot of time or care into it. Gross. Those are not the type of clients that I want to work with. The Mercedes-Benzes, the Porsches of the virtual client world are not looking for VAs on Upwork. Okay? So that is like why Upwork ends up getting used. Is that people think it's easy. People think it's more trusting. It shows up at the top of the Google result. It's cheaper. And that's all facade. This does not mean that other ways to find clients, other ways to connect with virtual assistants aren't also reliable and in fact better. Okay, so let's dive into the fine print. Why are sites like Upwork awful? Why are they traps? Total traps, okay? So when I'm going to dive into these specific points, I'm specifically talking about Upwork. I've looked into the fine print. I've conversed with many virtual assistants who have used these platforms. This is specific to Upwork. However, Indeed, Fiverr, freelancer.com, they all have their own version of this, okay? So keep that in mind. None of them are good. Problem number one. The rates. that are listed on these sites are way too low. Okay? I'm a virtual assistant coach in North America. I coach virtual assistants in Canada, the US, Australia, the UK. This is the type of economies that I'm talking about, okay? The rates on some of these platforms are averaging like $15 an hour. And you're going to see $5 an hour, $7 an hour, $10 an hour. That is not okay. We cannot live off of that where we are in the world. Okay? Some of these people are charging $5 an hour for virtual assistant services. That's insane. That's insane, okay? So you got to take these numbers. $15 an hour might sound good to you. You might be like, oh, hey, that's minimum wage. But here's the thing. As a freelancer, you're an independent contractor. You're your own business. Now you've got to pay taxes on that $15 an hour. You have business expenses on that $15 an hour. You've got to supply your own benefits on that $15 an hour. Suddenly that $15 is not $15. It's way lower than that, okay? And when you are up against, when you're scrolling through Upwork and you see people offering services for $5 an hour, $7 an hour, it dilutes, it brings down the average rate on those sites. And it's wildly discouraging for you to think, I'm a virtual assistant, I charge $25 an hour, and yet my profile is right next to someone who's charging $5. And if we're attracting cheap clients, guess who they're going to go for? Right. Okay. Here's the other thing about the rates and payment in sites like Upwork. The payment process happens through Upwork. I don't want my mic to get all crunchy on this neck thing. Okay. That's why I keep moving it. When it comes to payment, you send your client an invoice and then they fulfill the invoice and they send you money. It's through Upwork. Upwork is the middleman. The client sends the money to Upwork, and then Upwork sends the money to you. And what happens when Upwork takes the money from the client? They hold it. You don't get it right away. They hold it. They can hold it up to 2 weeks. And then guess what? If you want to take that money out and put it in your own bank account, they charge you a fee to do it. $2 every time you want to withdraw your money from Upwork just to put it in your own freaking bank account. Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just send an invoice to a potential client and have it go directly into your own bank account? Take out the middleman. The middleman holds your money. The middleman charges you money to take your money out. I mean, it's insane. It's insane. So if you got paid $15 an hour, you worked an hour, and then you have to spend $2 to even get that $15 out? Like, come on. This is ridiculous, okay? So let's keep going with pay. Let's keep going with pay. This one's going to blow your mind. It blows my mind. Upwork takes a huge percentage of what you make. When I say huge, like pick a number. It's ridiculous. Let me walk you through the math, okay? On the first $500 of your invoice to a client, the first $500, they take 20%. They take 20%. They take a fifth of your earnings in the first 500. And then let's just do some quick math. If you were only charging $15 an hour, how long would it take you to get to 500? You'd be in that first 500 bracket for a long time, and Upwork would be taking 20% the whole time. Okay? Now, let's move up to the next bracket. When you send a billing that's $501 up to $10,000, they take 10%. Okay? And then if you have a total billing of $10,000 or more, they only take 5%. How often do you think your total billing to a client is $10,000? Okay? This blows my mind. They take 20% of your billing between $0 and $500, which is where most bills hang out. Most bills hang out. It's only at $501 up to $10,000, which is like a huge window, right? Because they know most freelancers never send a bill that's $501 up to $10,000. And even then, they still take 10%. Everyone, most virtual assistants are hanging out in the 0 to 500 and are getting robbed 20% every time. That's what Upwork takes. They take 20% and then they hold your money. And then, oh, if you want your money, it's going to be $2 more. Is this not insulting you? It insults me so much, okay? So here's an example just to sort of paint the picture for you. On a project that is $600, on a $600 project with a new client, okay? So you remember the first bracket, it was 0 to 500. On a $600 project with a new client, your freelancer services would be, your freelance service fees, so what Indeed takes, would be 20% on the first 500 and then 10% on the remaining 100. So even if you send an invoice for $505 and you're like, okay, I broke the 500, I'm not going to get dinged. No, you do. You get dinged on the first 500 no matter how big or small the bill is. You are always losing 20% on the first 500. Isn't that just, it's so insulting. It's so bonkers, okay? So that is the big doozy. That one is a big doozy. The amount of money you lose simply working on Upwork. And I'm here to tell you, you could work with those clients independently and not lose any of that money, not pay any of those fees. Okay? You don't have to pay to play. You don't. So now let's jump into my second big problem with these platforms, okay? The next one is cheap clients. And I sort of touched on this before, okay? Clients who don't want to invest in the growth of their VA, clients who don't believe that a virtual assistant can earn $25 an hour or $35 an hour, they're going to go to these sites to hire someone from a lower income economy for $5, $7, $10. And the story they might tell themselves is, oh, well, that's a living wage in that country. You could change someone's life in that country if you paid them $20. But no, you're taking advantage of their lower income economy when you are in a higher income economy and only paying them $5 an hour because that's cheaper for you because you're giving them a living wage. You could change someone's freaking life if you paid them $20 an hour. And we know you have that because you're running a business in North America and you can afford to hire someone. Rebecca's soapbox is getting taller. I'm getting more amped. Okay. So these sites also, Upwork, Indeed, Fiverr, a lot of this labor is like cheap labor, not only in the dollar amount, but just in the mundaneness of it. Okay. So a lot of people are going to these clients are going to these sites because they're looking for someone for $5 an hour to transcribe audio for them. Or they hire them for one-off projects. They can be very boring, very mundane. They're not necessarily looking to hire someone that they're going to enroll into their team, that they want them to be part of their team, that they want to invest in their growth, that they want to see them around long term. No. They want to just like send you boring, mundane tasks that you complete for $5 an hour. No thanks. Okay, here's an example that really gets my goat. Really gets my goat. There's a virtual assistant in my world. She's Canadian. And before she met me, she fell into the Upwork trap. Okay, she wanted to become a virtual assistant. She has kids. She wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. She wanted to bring income into the family. So she Googled freelance work. She had an admin background, so she came across virtual assisting. She started to Google, where can I find virtual assisting clients? Upwork was the top Google search because they pay to be there. She landed on there. She found a client on Upwork who was also Canadian. Okay, the client's Canadian, the virtual assistant's Canadian. And the client paid her $5 an hour. Okay. I just want you to tune into your moral compass for a hot second. If you're Canadian or American or Australian or anywhere comparable, and you hire a virtual assistant or a graphic designer or any kind of freelancer, and you also know that they're Canadian or American, and you're only paying them $5 an hour? Who in your right mind thinks that they are living off of that? Okay? I'm going to leave it at that. Because my moral compass just cracked thinking about that. Next, let's talk about scams. Here's the tricky part about these sites, is that they come across as official. They're cool looking, they look busy, they show up at the top of the Google search, they have a name, they have a term, they have a privacy policy, right? They look official. They do not monitor the platform for scams. Just because there's a client looking for VA services and you reach out to them and you apply does not mean that they're not a scam. Upwork, Indeed, Fiverr, they do not monitor their platforms for scams. Anyone can join these platforms. You can get scammed on these platforms. And they are global, and there are people on these platforms who are predators, and there are people on these platforms that can fall victim to that. They do not monitor. The chances of you landing a scam on Upwork is more or less, it's the same as landing a scam in the real world. So why would you go through Upwork to get scammed when you could just get scammed in the real world and not have to pay for it? Right? Okay? Scams, they still exist on these sites. Do not convince yourself that just because these sites look fancy and official and they've got a name and they show up at the top of the Google search that they don't have scams. They do. They do. And I see examples of them every day from virtual assistants posting in Facebook groups, posting around the internet, being like, I just got scammed. I just got scammed. I tried Upwork and then I got scammed. Scam. Yeah. Nowhere does it say that they can guarantee you're not going to get scammed. So why would you pay to get scammed? Okay? And here's the last big doozy about these sites. Okay? And I think, like, when it comes to the trap, a lot of virtual assistants who fall into this trap, they get it. There's a fee. They understand that they've got to pay all these things. They lose a bunch of money. Maybe they come up across a scam and they're like, okay, they exist. Yeah, okay. There's a lot of these things that I've already talked about that, like, yeah, you'll figure out pretty soon on. This last piece really gets me because I had a really hard time finding it. And the only way I found it is because I was told to look for it. And I could not find it on my own unless you are one of those people that literally reads all like 100 pages of the fine print in the agreement. This is where you're going to find the point I'm just about to tell you. The contracts on Upwork between you and your client are unbelievably binding. Unbelievably binding. Okay? If you land a client on Upwork and you're like, this client's great, We love working together. I'm getting dinged 20% every time I send them an invoice. I don't want to do that. Why don't we know we want to work together long term. Our relationship is awesome. How about we take our contract off of Upwork and just work independently off of the platform? Oh no. No, you can't do that. You can't do that for 2 years. If you want to take a client and continue to work with them off of Upwork before the 2-year mark, the charge is over $1,000. So when you enter a contract with a client, you're stuck in it for 2 years. You can have one-off projects with a client and be like, okay, see you later, 6 months later, and you can go separate ways. But if you land a long-term client and maybe you want to work with them for years and years and years and years and years, the first 2 years have to be on Upwork. And if you want to break that because you're getting dinged 20% every time you send your client an invoice and you're like, screw Upwork, we don't need to work on Upwork. Let's take our relationship independently. You have to pay over $1,000 to break the 2-year contract. Did you know that? That one really zings me. And I heard that, a personal story from a virtual assistant. She was raising her rates with a client and they were like, oh, this rate's getting a little high for Upwork. And she's like, well, I'm getting dinged 20% every time I invoice you. And they're like, we like to work with you. But if you keep increasing your rates to make up for the 20% that Upwork's taking from you, then why don't we just take the relationship off of Upwork and then you don't have to increase your rates by 20% to make up for the loss? They go to do that. Oh, you can't. For 2 years. And if you want to, you have to pay thousands of dollars. Who's going to do that? Who's going to do that? Okay? That's Upwork. Platforms like Indeed and Fiverr, some of them are even more stricter with their contracts. Like, you can't even communicate with your client outside of the platform. Like, all your communication has to be through Fiverr or through Upwork or through Indeed. You can't email them. You can't chat with them on Slack. You can't manage projects on a different platform. Everything is restricted to that platform. You are bound to it. That's insane. Virtual assistants are independent contractors. To then be bound to a platform, no, you can do all of this. You can find clients and work with clients on your own. You don't need a platform. You can communicate with them on your own. You can manage projects on your own. You can invoice them on your own. You don't need these platforms in order to do it. And if you use it, you're bound to them and you lose so much money. It's insane. Okay? So those are the doozies. Those are the big, please let that scare you. Someone asked me, why would you use one of these platforms? And I said, I don't know. And then I asked a couple virtual assistants who fell into the Upwork trap, and I was like, can you find a reason why you would use them? And they were like, no. The reasons why you think you might, it's easier, it's faster, it's more legitimate. Those aren't real. Those are facades. It doesn't mean that there aren't other real, easy, and legitimate ways to find clients that are not on these sites, that don't bind you to these 2-year contracts and don't take tons of money off of you. So really, no. Okay? Okay, I don't want you to be fooled. These freelancer job sites might look like easy places to find clients. They might look like fast places to find clients. But here's the next catch. there's a ranking system on these sites. So you might think, oh, I'm just going to create a VA profile on Upwork and then clients will reach out to you. No, there's a ranking system. You're a new account. You're going to get buried. You're going to get buried under all of the other accounts that have a higher ranking than you. And how do you get higher ranking? Well, first off, you can pay for it. Oh yeah, I said it. I said it. You can purchase points to be higher ranked on the platform. You can also get higher ranked through reviews and seniority of services, which takes years. So guess what? It's not necessarily a faster, quicker, and easier way to find clients. You're going to get ranked at the bottom of the list unless you purchase higher ranking points or you're on there clocking insane amount of hours and billing a lot of work. Upwork wants 20% of your money. So if you are clocking a lot of hours and if you are sending out a lot of bills, you better believe they're going to rank you higher. Someone who's new to the game, someone who does a couple hours here and there, Upwork's like, we don't make as much money off of you. We're going to put you at the bottom of the ranking. I'm not lying. This is how they do business. It makes sense, I guess, but it's awful. It's awful for the people who use it. So no, don't be fooled. There's no real reason why you should be using these sites when the alternatives are so much better. Okay? So let's talk about the alternatives. Okay, you've watched this masterclass and you're like, screw that. I am never going to be using Upwork or any of those platforms like Indeed or freelancer.com. Any freelance job posting platform. You're going to be like, no, I'm not going to use that. So then you're sitting here and you're like, Rebecca, well then what can I do to find clients? So right now, recording this masterclass live, I'm running a Finding Clients program. And the women that are in this program are learning the exact ways that I trust to find high quality, badass, long-term clients that want to invest in you and have you a part of their team. That's the program they're going through right now. It's a multi-week coaching program. And the results these women are getting are incredible. That's what I'm hosting live while I'm filming this masterclass. Lucky for you, if you're catching the replay, I run this program multiple times a year. And I teach all the bomb-ass ways that there are to find Mercedes-Benz clients, Porsches of the client's world. With confidence and boss babeship and empowerment, and to go in there and be like, I don't need to sit back and post on a job site and hope someone comes and finds me. No, we are actively going out and finding your unicorn dream clients. Okay, so I will be running this program again if you're not currently enrolled. You need to watch my Instagram stories, check your emails. This is where you're going to hear about all of my programs, okay? I don't want you to find clients where you have to pay fees. These are the ways that I teach you to find clients are no fees, no third-party contracts, no payment cuts, no restrictions on your contract. None of that. It's independent. It's you and someone else agreeing to work together outside of any of these platforms. Okay? If you have someone to mow your lawn, or if you have someone come by and help you clean your house, are you hiring them off of a third-party platform, or are you just giving them money when they're done and the agreement is just between the two of you? Yeah, we can do that as virtual assistants too. We don't need to go through some kind of third-party agency or platform and blah, blah, blah. No, done. Okay? Everyone is a potential client or they know a potential client. Let me say that again. Everyone is a potential client or they know a potential client. So I've just told you don't use Upwork. Don't you use a job platform. And you're sitting there and you're like, well, how else am I supposed to find clients? Just take a hot second and think about what I just said about everyone is a potential client or knows a potential client. Virtual assisting is an incredible service that we provide. Admin support, tech support, marketing assistance, design support. Someone out there needs that, or they know someone who needs that, okay? So have you asked your network? Who in your life? Just think about it. Who in your life? Who in your life could use that or know someone who could use that? Okay? Can someone refer you? Are you looking for opportunities on social media? Who would you like to work with? Where are they hanging out? Who has monetized their business and could use assistance? Okay? If you'd love to work with yoga instructors, if assisting yoga businesses and helping yoga instructors monetize their courses or get online or do teacher training and they could use a virtual assistant, where are they hanging out? Who do they know? Okay? If your local coffee shop hasn't posted on their Instagram in ages and you're like, man, their social media game is crap, and social media is the biggest part of marketing right now. You go to this coffee shop every day. Who could you talk to? Do they work with a virtual assistant? Do they know what it is? You don't need a third-party site. You're better than that. You're more empowered. You're more of a boss babe. You can use your own brain. You can spark conversations, okay? So in the Finding Clients program, I go into all of the exact steps, nitty-gritty details, what scripts to use, how to approach every single version, every outlet, and it's just endless. The women are like, wow, I never saw so many opportunities, okay? And I'll be running that program again soon. The next program, I'm filming this masterclass on March 2022, okay? The next program you need to enroll in is actually my Emerge program. My Emerge program is the setup of the business. So if you want to get into virtual assisting, any kind of freelance work, you want to do freelance graphic design, you want to do freelance copywriting, anything like that, okay? What you need is my next program, which is Emerge. And this is where we set up the businessy stuff, okay? Registration, taxes, income and expense tracking, invoices, your agreement, your profile. I mean, the businessy stuff, the stuff where you're like, yeah, I could totally be a virtual assistant. That's freaking awesome. And then you're like, but how do I start? I don't know how to set up a business. Yeah, I can help someone like manage their social media, or I can assist them in their admin. But how do I set up the business? I'm now a business owner. That's what Emerge is about. That's exactly what my very first program in the line is Emerge, and we set up the business. And that's going to be running next, okay? It's a multi-week group program where we just focus on the first step. We just get the businessy stuff squared away so that when you go to find clients and figure out how to book discovery calls and all that kind of stuff and get clarity, your business will be set up. It's something you can literally hold in your hands and be like, I am ready for taxes, invoices, receipts, registration, expenses. That's all ready and squared away. That's step one, okay? This is also something that you can do in retrospect if you're already working with clients, if you found yourself thrown into virtual assisting and you don't have the businessy side set up, you can still enroll in Emerge. You can do this in retrospect, okay? So it's a multi-week program, big, like community based. It's a group program. So I foster a community so you and other women are going through the program together. You're encouraging each other. You're motivating each other. You're creating collective momentum. You're asking questions to each other. I'm answering them. Lots of coaching and coaching calls with me. Ladies, there's a lot of self-paced programs out there where you like sign up and then you're inundated with like 1,000 hours of videos and 1,000,000 chapters and modules and you never actually complete it, or you go way too freaking slow and there's no access to a coach or a mentor motivating you, answering your questions and all of the above. That's the beauty of my programs. We have coaching calls. We do short spurts. I'm like, I want this set up in 4 weeks, not a year. Now, if you're ready, let's go. And then we move along to the other programs, okay? So if you are interested in setting up your freelance business, the businessy stuff, taxes, income, expenses, Emerge is my next program, and it is on pre-sale right now, the lowest rate. I increase the investment as I get closer to the start date to encourage people to just go, to just start, to just jump when you know you want to. Okay. And then after that, it's going to be Finding Clients program. You need to follow me, open your emails, watch my Instagram. It's where you're going to learn about all of the steps that I go through to help you start your freelance business, your virtual assistant business. Okay. So that's what's going to start. Whether you're watching this masterclass live or catching the replay, these are programs I run multiple times a year. Okay. So Finding Clients sounds like the right program for you. I will be running it again. If you want to start the beginning, set up the businessy stuff, then Emerge is the next program I'm running right now. So sign up, message me, let's go. Okay? So let this masterclass be a motivation for you that you do not need the assistance of a third-party platform like Upwork or Freelance or Indeed. You are empowered, you're badass, you're smart, you can find gold standard clients independently with no fees, no 2-year binding contracts, no $2 to withdraw your money BS, none of that, okay? Stay away from these platforms. You do not need them. They're traps. The fine print is so hard to dig out of. The virtual assistant that I referenced her story a couple times during this masterclass, it has taken her a year to get her business to where it could have been at the beginning if she skipped Upwork. She was trapped in Upwork getting paid $5 an hour for a year. It's taken her and I working together a year to get her business out of the Upwork rut. What if she had just started not Upwork at the very beginning? She'd be a year ahead. Okay, she delayed the process by 12 months. That's the kind of trap we're talking about. And that's why this masterclass is really, really important for me to get this message out. When you Google remote work, when you Google freelance, when you Google online business, the top results are Upwork, Indeed.com, Fiverr, Freelancer.com, yada, yada, yada. Don't fall into the trap.